The hospital room was cold and quiet. Machines beeped softly beside the bed. A heart monitor blinked slowly on the screen. The air smelled like medicine and cleaning spray. In the corner of the room, a tall man sat completely still. His expensive suit was wrinkled, his tie was loose, and his face looked tired and broken. His name was Daniel Morgan, one of the richest men in the city. People called him a genius businessman, a man who never failed. But today, Daniel didn't feel powerful. He felt small, weak, lost. He sat beside his wife, Emily, holding her hand. She had been in a coma for 2 weeks. Her face was pale. Her eyes stayed closed. She didn't move, didn't speak, didn't respond. Doctors had done every test. They gave him long reports and medical terms he didn't understand, but they all meant one thing. No one knew what was wrong. One nurse had whispered, "Sometimes the body gives up when the heart is too hurt." Daniel didn't want to believe that. He had built empires, crushed enemies in courtrooms and boardrooms. But here, with Emily, he was helpless. He visited every day, stayed every night. He talked to her softly, hoping she could hear. He told her stories from their past, the first time they met, their wedding day, the beach house she loved, but there was never a reaction, only silence. His friends stopped visiting after the first week. Business partners told him to stay strong and move on, but he couldn't. He wouldn't. She was all he had left that mattered. One evening, the sun was setting behind the hospital windows. Orange light touched Emily's face gently. Daniel stood up to stretch his legs. He walked into the hallway to breathe, and then he saw her. A young girl, maybe 16, stood at the far end of the hallway. She wore a simple dress. Her hair was long and messy. She didn't look like a nurse. She wasn't carrying flowers or food like a visitor. She was just standing there, watching him. Daniel looked away for a second, just to blink. And when he looked back, the girl was gone. He shook his head. Maybe he was too tired, maybe he was imagining things. But the next evening, she was there again. Same spot, same stillness. Staring at him. Daniel's chest tightened. He walked slowly toward her. "Do you need something?" he asked. The girl didn't speak. She just looked at him with calm, serious eyes. Daniel frowned. "Are you here with a patient?" She shook her head. "No," he tried again. "Are you lost?" The girl looked past him, toward Emily's room, and finally said, "She's not waking up because something is holding her back." Daniel froze. "What did you say?" The girl looked straight at him. Her voice was soft but clear. "I know why your wife is not waking up." Daniel's heart began to race. Daniel Morgan didn't sleep that night, not even for a minute. The strange girl's words kept repeating in his head. "She's not just sleeping. She's trapped, in a place only you can reach." It didn't make sense, but it didn't feel like a lie either. Daniel had seen hundreds of people try to trick him before. Fake business deals, false friends, people pretending to care. But this girl, something about her was different. She wasn't asking for money. She wasn't trying to impress him. She looked at him like she already knew everything. And that's what scared him the most. The next morning, Daniel asked the hospital staff about her. He described her face, her clothes, even the way she spoke, but no one had seen her. "There are no teenage girls visiting this floor," one nurse said. "Only families of patients." "She was sitting right here last night," Daniel insisted. The nurse gave him a kind smile, but her eyes said something else. Maybe he's imagining it. Daniel didn't argue. He was used to being doubted. But deep inside, he knew she was real, and he knew she'd be back. That evening, he waited in the hallway. He didn't go for dinner. He didn't answer phone calls. He sat silently, eyes fixed on the corner where she had appeared. And just as the sky turned dark, she came. Slow steps, calm face, same quiet presence. She stood near the bench across from Emily's room. This time, Daniel didn't wait. He stood up and walked to her. "You said she's trapped," he said firmly. "Trapped where? How do you know my wife?" The girl looked at him unafraid. "My name is Lena," she said softly, "and I know your wife because she tried to help someone close to me." Daniel narrowed his eyes. "What do you mean?" Lena didn't answer. Instead, she walked past him and entered Emily's hospital room. Daniel followed quickly. She stood beside the bed, looking at Emily with sad eyes. "She used to smile a lot," Lena whispered, "even when things were hard." "She had a kind heart," Daniel's voice broke. "Yes, she did. She still does," Lena said. "But her heart is heavy, that's why she won't wake up." Daniel couldn't stay calm anymore. "Tell me the truth. Who are you? What do you know about Emily? Why are you here?" Lena looked at him. And then she said something that made Daniel's legs go weak. "You left someone behind, Mr. Morgan, years ago. You thought no one would remember. But Emily did. And she carried that pain until it broke her." Daniel's mouth went dry. His heart began to beat faster. "What are you talking about?" Lena opened her small bag and pulled out an old photograph. She placed it on the table beside Emily. Daniel looked down. It was a picture of a young woman, beautiful with soft eyes and a gentle smile. Someone he hadn't seen in a long, long time. "Her name was Rachel," Lena said. "She was my mother." Daniel took a step back. "No, it can't be. She loved you," Lena continued. "But you left her without a word, without a goodbye, and you didn't even know she was pregnant." Daniel stared at the photo, speechless. The girl in front of him, the girl who knew everything and was his daughter, a daughter he never knew existed, and Emily, his wife. She had known. "She found us," Lena said, voice shaking slightly now. "She helped my mother when no one else did. Even when my mom was sick and poor, Emily was kind. She came to visit us often." Daniel sat down slowly, trying to breathe. "She never told me." "No," Lena said, "because she didn't want to hurt you. But it hurt her." There was silence in the room now, only the sound of the machines and Daniel's uneven breathing. "I'm not here for revenge," Lena said. "I'm here because I think you still love her. And if you do, you need to face the truth." Daniel looked at Emily. Her face looked peaceful but fragile. "She's lost between this world and the pain of the past," Lena said. "She won't come back until she knows you faced it, until she knows you're ready to make things right." Daniel was shaking. How can I fix this?" Lena picked up the photo again and said, "Start with remembering. Start with the truth. Go back to where it began." Daniel stood up. "Where?" "The beach house," Lena said. "The one you haven't visited in years. Emily called it her happy place. That's where you'll find what you're looking for." Daniel nodded slowly. He didn't know where this road would lead. He didn't know if Emily would ever open her eyes again. But now he had something he didn't have before. A reason. And maybe a second chance. As he turned to leave the hospital room, Lena's voice followed him. "She believed in you until the very end. Now it's your turn to believe in her." To be continued in part 3, The Past He Buried. "How do you know my wife?" he asked. The girl didn't answer. Instead, she turned and began to walk away, slowly, like she wasn't in a hurry. Daniel rushed after her. "Wait, stop, tell me what you mean." But she turned the corner and disappeared. When he followed, she was gone, just like that. He asked the nurse at the desk, "Did you see a girl walk by? A teenager, black hair, long dress?" The nurse looked confused. "No, sir, no one's been here but you." Daniel didn't sleep that night. He sat beside Emily, holding her hand, thinking about the strange girl's words. "She's not waking up because something is holding her back." What could that mean? Was it medical, emotional, spiritual, or something else? His mind was filled with questions, questions that had no answers, until the next morning. Daniel stepped into the hallway again. The sun was barely up. And there she was, the same girl, same eyes, same quiet stare. But this time she wasn't standing. She was sitting on the bench across from the room, as if she had been waiting for him. Daniel walked straight to her. "Tell me who you are. Tell me what you know." The girl stood up slowly. My name doesn't matter right now, but I know your wife's story. I know the pain she carries. And if you want to save her, you'll need to face what you've hidden." Daniel's voice cracked. "I've done everything for her. I love her." The girl nodded. "Then listen carefully. She's not just sleeping, she's trapped." "Trapped where?" he asked, shaking. "What does that mean?" The girl leaned closer and whispered, "In a place only you can reach. A place where truth decides if she lives or fades forever." And just like that, she walked away again. Daniel stood frozen in the hallway. His powerful mind couldn't make sense of it. His heart was pounding. Everything inside him told him this wasn't a dream. Who was this girl? How did she know about Emily? And what truth was she talking about? One thing was clear now. This wasn't just a medical case anymore. The road to the beach house was quiet and lonely. The sky was gray, and the ocean wind felt colder than Daniel remembered. It had been more than 10 years since he last came here. The house sat on a cliff, looking over the sea, old and silent, like it had been waiting. Daniel stepped out of his car and stood still for a moment. He didn't know what he expected to find, but the memories were already coming back. Lena's words echoed in his mind. "She believed in you until the very end. Now it's your turn to believe in her." Emily had brought him here many times. This was their favorite place when they were first married. She loved the sound of the waves and the peacefulness. She used to sit by the window for hours, watching the tide come in. But now everything felt different. As Daniel unlocked the door and stepped inside, dust filled the air. The furniture was covered with white sheets. Everything looked untouched, still, frozen in time. He walked into the living room and saw the old photo frame Emily had left on the table. It was a picture of them, young, smiling, full of hope. But right behind it was something else, a letter, yellowed paper, folded carefully. Emily's handwriting on the front. Daniel's hands shook as he opened it. "Daniel, if you're reading this, then something has happened. Maybe I'm asleep, maybe I'm gone. But I want you to know the truth because I couldn't carry it alone anymore. Her name is Lena. She's your daughter." Rachel was kind and soft-spoken. She never asked for anything. But when I met her, I knew she had once loved someone deeply. And that person was you. You never told me about Rachel. Maybe you forgot her, but she never forgot you. And when she died, I promised her I would look after Lena. I kept that promise. I wanted to tell you so many times, but I saw how tired you were, how broken you were already carrying so much. But now, if there's still time, I hope you'll find her. I hope you'll tell her you're sorry. And I hope you'll forgive me for not telling you sooner. Love. Always, Emily. Daniel sat down. The letter shook in his hands. A deep pain filled his chest. He remembered Rachel now, the gentle girl from his college years. They were young, they had dreams, but he got scared. Scared of failure, scared of love, scared of responsibility. So he left. No goodbye, no call, just silence. And now, years later, that silence had come, back to haunt him. Emily, his Emily, had carried the truth all this time. She had cared for the daughter of the woman he abandoned. And she did it with kindness, without bitterness. What kind of love was that? Daniel stood up and walked toward the back of the house. There was a small wooden box hidden behind the bookshelf. Emily used to keep her private things there. Letters, drawings, keepsakes. He opened it. Inside, he found pictures of Lena as a child, a small girl with curious eyes, drawings she had made for Emily. "Thank you for the new shoes," one said. Another had stick figures of her, Emily, and someone with a question mark over his face. That one made Daniel's eyes fill with tears. She had always wondered who he was. Daniel took a deep breath. He stepped outside, stood at the edge of the cliff, and looked at the sea. He had spent his whole life building towers of money, walls of pride, and shields of silence. But now none of it mattered. All that mattered was a girl he never knew. and a woman who had carried his mistakes without hate. Suddenly, his phone buzzed. A message. It was from Lena. "Come back." She moved her hand. His heart nearly stopped. He ran to his car and started driving back. The road felt longer this time. Every red light felt like a punishment, every second like a test. She moved her hand. Could it be? When Daniel reached the hospital, Lena was standing outside Emily's room. He looked into her eyes. She didn't speak. She just nodded slowly. Daniel rushed inside. Emily was still lying in bed, but her fingers had moved slightly. The nurse was adjusting her IV. She reacted, the nurse said. It could mean something is changing. Daniel sat beside her, took her hand, and held it tightly. "I went to the beach house," he whispered. "I found your letter. I know everything now about Rachel, about Lena, about the love you carried for both of us." A tear rolled down his cheek. "I'm sorry, Emily. I should have seen how much you were carrying. I should have told you everything. But I was afraid. Not anymore." He looked over his shoulder at Lena, who stood in the doorway watching. Daniel reached for her hand, too. "You have a father now," he said, "and I'm going to be here for both of you." And in that moment, Emily's eyes flickered, just for a second. But it was real. Daniel didn't move. He held his breath. His heart was racing. Emily's eyes had flickered, just for a second, but it was enough. A second ago, she had been still, like every other day for the past 2 weeks. But now, something had changed. It was small, but powerful. "Do you see that?" Daniel whispered. The nurse leaned in, checking Emily's pulse, eyes focused. "Yes," she said slowly. It was a response. Daniel looked at Lena. Her face was pale but hopeful. "She heard you," Lena whispered. "I know she did." Daniel didn't know whether to cry or smile. After all the pain, the waiting, the fear, there was finally a sign, a flicker of hope. But the doctors weren't ready to celebrate yet. It could be a reflex, one said. Sometimes coma patients react without awareness. Daniel shook his head. "No, it wasn't random. She moved when I told her the truth." He turned to Lena. "We can't stop now. She needs more." "More what?" Lena asked. "More truth, more love, more of the things she was missing." Daniel stayed at the hospital all night. He sat by Emily's bed and spoke to her softly. He told her stories from their early days, how they met in college, how she used to bring him coffee during late-night study sessions, how her laugh once made him believe the world wasn't such a cold place. He told her about the mistakes he had made. "I was selfish," he said. "I was scared. I walked away from Rachel when she needed me, and I didn't even know about Lena." He turned to Lena, who sat quietly by the window, listening. "She deserved a father. You deserved a daughter. And instead, you carried all of it alone." His voice cracked. "I don't want to carry this pain anymore. I want to fix it if I can." Then something happened again. Emily's hand moved slightly, this time more clearly. A slow twitch of her fingers, as if trying to hold something. Daniel grabbed her hand gently. "Emily, it's me." "Daniel, I'm here. I know everything now, and I'm not running anymore." A tear slipped from her eye. Lena gasped. "She's crying," she whispered. Daniel's heart nearly burst. It was the first real sign that Emily was still in there, feeling, listening, hoping. The next morning the doctor returned. He had reviewed the overnight monitor data. "There's increased brain activity," he said. "It's weak but stronger than before." Daniel looked up. "So there's a chance?" The doctor gave a small nod. "Yes, a small one, but real." Daniel stepped out of the room to take a breath. His hands were shaking. Lena followed him. "Do you think she'll wake up?" she asked. "I don't know," Daniel said quietly. "But I have to believe. She believed in me when I didn't deserve it." Lena looked down at her hands. "You're trying. That's what matters now." Daniel turned to her. "I don't expect you to forgive me right away, but I want to get to know you. You're my daughter, and I want to be part of your life." Lena nodded slowly. I want that too. They stood silently in the hallway for a moment, two broken pieces slowly coming together. Later that day, Daniel returned to the room with something special, a music player. Emily had always loved music, especially a soft piano song they used to dance to at home. He played it quietly beside her, and for the first time, her lips moved. She didn't speak, but Daniel saw it. She was trying to return, trying to fight her way back, and he would be there, every second of the way. As the music filled the room, Daniel held her hand and whispered, "Come back. To me, come back to us, we need you." And in the soft glow of the hospital light, Emily's eyes opened. Just a sliver, just for a second. But it was real. And Daniel knew. The room was silent. The only sound was the soft hum of machines. Daniel sat frozen in his chair. His heart thumped loudly in his chest. Emily's eyes had opened, only for a second. But it wasn't a dream. It was real. He jumped up and called the nurse. She opened her eyes. I saw it. The nurse hurried in and checked the monitors. Her vitals are steady. Her brain activity is rising. Daniel turned to Emily. He leaned close and whispered, I'm here, Emily. I'm not going anywhere. Her eyelids moved again. Then, slowly, they opened. Her eyes were glassy, confused, searching the room. Emily, Daniel whispered, his voice shaking. Can you hear me? She blinked once. Then again. Her lips trembled slightly. Daniel pressed the nurse call button again. The doctor entered a few minutes later and examined her closely. He asked simple questions. Emily, can you move your fingers? She moved them, just a little. Can you hear us? Her lips parted. No words came, but her eyes filled with tears. Daniel couldn't hold his emotions anymore. He sat beside her, holding her hand with both of his. You're back, he said softly. You really came back. Emily looked at him for a long moment. She looked tired, weak, but her gaze was clear. Then her lips moved again. This time she whispered something, faint, barely audible. Daniel. Tears rolled down his face. Yes, I'm here. She squeezed his hand. It was weak, but it was there. Lena stood at the door, tears in. Her eyes too. Emily looked at her slowly. Her lips trembled. Lena, she whispered. Lena ran to her. I'm here too. Emily's eyes filled with emotion. You're safe. Daniel looked at both of them. She knows everything, doesn't she? The doctor nodded. It seems her memory is intact. She may be weak for some time, but mentally she's still herself. Daniel sat beside Emily all day. He told her everything. I went to the beach house, he said. I read your letter. Emily gave a faint nod. Her fingers touched his cheek. I'm sorry, he whispered. For everything. She blinked slowly. I waited for you to see her. I see her now, Daniel said. He turned to Lena. And I see you. You're the best parts of your mother. And Emily. Lena held Emily's other hand. You never had to carry it all alone, she said softly. That night, Daniel stayed by her side again. Emily was awake but very weak. Speaking was hard, but she kept whispering bits and pieces. You took too long, she joked weakly. Daniel smiled, tears in his eyes. I know. I always do. But you came, she whispered. That's what matters. A few days passed. Emily grew stronger. Her voice became clearer. Her smile returned slowly. Nurses said it was a miracle, but Lena believed it wasn't just luck. She needed to be seen, Lena said. She needed to be heard. Emily's first full sentence came on the 5th morning. She looked at Daniel and said, You found the truth. He nodded. And I'll never hide from it again. Then she said something that shocked him. I have one more thing to tell you. Daniel leaned forward. What is it? Emily turned her head slowly and looked at Lena. She's not just Rachel's daughter, Daniel frowned. What do you mean? Emily smiled weakly. She's yours too. The world stopped. Daniel stared at her. What? Emily nodded slowly. Rachel told me. You were her father. She never wanted to burden you, but I knew the truth. Lena's eyes widened. You're saying? Daniel couldn't believe it. All this time he had a daughter, not just by heart, but by blood. He turned to Lena. I didn't know. Lena looked at him. Neither did I. The truth hit him like a wave. He had a second chance, not just to fix a broken family, but to build a new one. Emily smiled. You two were meant to find each other, she said. Daniel nodded slowly, and for the first time in years, he didn't feel alone anymore. Lena sat in the hospital garden alone, watching the leaves fall from the trees. Her heart was heavy. Her mind was full of thoughts she couldn't escape. Just yesterday, she found out something that changed her life forever. Daniel Morgan was her real father. It wasn't just a story from the past. It wasn't just about Rachel or Emily. This was about her truth, her blood. She felt like the ground beneath her feet had shifted. All her life she had wondered, why didn't she have a father like other kids? Why did her mother cry silently some nights? Why did Emily hug her so tightly and say, "You're stronger than you think"? Now she knew Rachel had protected her, Emily had raised her, but Daniel had never known, and now he did. Lena didn't know how to feel. Angry, confused, grateful. She looked up and saw Daniel walking toward her, slowly, nervously. He sat down beside her, quiet at first, unsure. "I don't know what to say," he said softly. Lena didn't speak. The wind blew gently between them. "I thought I was just trying to fix my marriage," Daniel said. "Trying to undo old mistakes. But now I realize I was also looking for you." She looked at him, her voice barely above a whisper. "Why did you leave Rachel?" Daniel closed his eyes. "I was young, stupid, scared. I thought success meant never looking back. I ran from everything good because I didn't think I deserved it." He looked at Lena. "But I regret it, every day." Lena stared at the trees. "You missed everything. My birthdays, my school plays, my tears, my laughter." "I know," Daniel said. "I missed everything, and I don't deserve your forgiveness." He paused, his voice breaking. "But if you'll let me, I want to know you now. Not because I feel guilty, but because I love you. Because you're my daughter." That word, daughter, hit Lena like thunder. No one had ever said it to her like that. She didn't reply right away. Her heart was fighting with her head, but then she remembered something. Emily's voice days ago, whispering from her hospital bed. "He's not perfect, but neither are we. Give him a chance, just like I gave you one." Lena turned to Daniel slowly. "If you want to know me, then don't run again." Daniel looked into her eyes. "I won't." She stood. "Then prove it." From that moment, things began to change. Daniel started visiting Lena more often. They talked about small things, books, favorite foods, even embarrassing childhood stories. He learned that she loved drawing, just like Rachel, that she drank her tea with too much sugar, that she hated elevators but loved long walks. And Lena saw another side of him too. He wasn't the cold, rich man she thought. He was awkward, trying, sometimes funny, and always sincere. Every visit he brought something from the past. A photo of Rachel, a letter he wrote and never sent, even a teddy bear she once lost. One evening, he brought a drawing from her childhood. It was a crayon sketch of 3 people, a woman, a girl, and a man with a question mark over his face. "I found this in Emily's box," he said. "You were always wondering who I was." Lena took the drawing, her eyes watering. "Now I know." They shared a long silence. Not heavy anymore, not sad, just peaceful. The next morning, Emily sat up in bed, stronger than before. Her voice was still soft, but her eyes were brighter. Daniel and Lena stood beside her. "You both look different," Emily said with a smile. Daniel held Lena's hand. "She gave me a chance," he said. "The one I never gave her." Lena smiled faintly. "We're still learning." Emily reached out and touched both their hands. That's all love really is. Just then, the doctor entered with some news. Emily's recovery was improving faster than expected. She may be able to go home soon, he said. Emily looked at them. Then I want to go home, with my family. Daniel and Lena nodded, because for the first time, they were not just three broken people. The day had finally come. After weeks in the hospital, Emily was going home. Her strength had returned slowly. Her voice was still soft, her body still weak, but her spirit was stronger than ever. Daniel stood by the hospital room window, watching the nurses prepare the wheelchair. Lena packed Emily's things into a small bag, books, a photo frame, and the old music player Daniel had brought. Emily looked around the room one last time. The place where pain had lived, where secrets had broken hearts, but also where truth and love had brought healing. Lena walked up to her and knelt beside the wheelchair. "Ready?" she asked. Emily smiled. More than ever. As they walked through the hospital hallway together, people turned and smiled. Some whispered, "That's the woman who came back." Others just watched with silent respect. Daniel pushed the wheelchair gently. Every step felt like a step toward a new beginning. When they reached outside, the sun was shining. Birds chirped. The world felt alive again. They helped Emily into the car. As Daniel drove, Emily held Lena's hand in the back seat. "You've grown up so strong," she whispered. "Stronger than I ever was." Lena smiled. "Because of you." They arrived at the house, Emily's home. But now, something more. A place of second chances. Daniel opened the door. Emily's eyes filled with tears as she entered. Everything was still the same, but the feeling was different. This time, the house didn't feel empty. It felt warm. Lena helped her to the couch. Daniel brought a soft blanket and a cup of tea. They all sat together like a family that had been apart for years, and finally found their way back. That evening, as the sun began to set, Emily looked at Daniel. "There's something I need to say," she whispered. Daniel leaned closer. "I know my time may be short," she said. "I feel it. I may not live for years, maybe not even for many months, but I'm not afraid anymore." Daniel held her hand tightly. "Don't say that. You're strong. You'll make it." Emily smiled gently. "It's not about time. It's about what we do with the time we have." She turned to Lena. "She needs you, Daniel, not just today, not just while I'm here. She needs a father, a real one." Daniel's eyes filled with tears. "She'll have one, I promise." Emily reached into a small drawer beside the couch and took out a sealed envelope. "This is for you," she said, "when I'm gone, but not before." Daniel took the letter and nodded, tucking it into his coat pocket. "I love you," Emily whispered. "Both of you." Later that night, Lena helped her mother into bed. Emily looked at her. "You'll be okay, you have him now." Lena kissed her forehead. "And I'll always have you in my heart." That night, Emily slept peacefully. No machines, no hospital noise, just the soft sound of music playing in the next room. Daniel stood by the window looking up at the stars. Lena joined him. "She changed everything," Lena said. Daniel nodded. "Yes, and now, it's our turn." They stood in silence for a while, watching the sky. A few days later, Emily passed away in her sleep, peacefully, without pain, surrounded by love. Daniel opened the envelope Emily had left behind. Inside was a letter, written in her beautiful handwriting. "Dear Daniel, you spent your whole life chasing success, but real success is love. You found